Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. Mom and I are both grateful that you can join us for another week,
We
and we are
are.
excited that we are welcoming back David Cunningham with us. David Cunningham is a global transformational coach, speaker, and author whose life's work centers on love as the foundational force for personal and collective awakening. With over 35 years of experience guiding individuals and communities towards deeper authenticity, connection, and purpose. David has touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people around the world through transformational programs, seminars, and his writing. His international best-selling book, Your Love Does Matter, A Journey to the New Consciousness and Expanding Your Love Footprint, invites readers to see love not just as an emotion, but as a way of being that leaves a meaningful imprint on the world in his own words. Your love matters to you. Your love matters to anyone who crosses your path for a moment over 50 years. Your love matters for Mother Earth and all of humanity. David's concept of the love footprint encourages each person to recognize the lasting impact of their compassionate actions and presence, inspiring a movement towards greater consciousness, healing, and connections across all walks of life. So, welcome, David. We're super excited to welcome you back to the podcast with us.
It's wonderful to be with you again, and to everybody listening. Hello.
Yes. Well, I'm mid your book right at the moment, and I find it very interesting and lovely. And I keep, you know, oh, I need to highlight this. I need to keep this quote. I need to keep this little excerpt because there's just so many wonderful things about love and leaving these love footprints and just being compassionate out in the world. So I know before we got on air, we were talking about leading with love. So we'll let you take that away to tell people about that.
Yeah, I think it's a one of the things that we can just establish for ourselves and our lives and our living is that we're going to lead with love. A lot of times when we're trying to somehow work with somebody else, we try to work with them by being logical, or we try to work with them by being smart or being the right one, or we even try to work with them by being convincing, or sometimes even forceful, quite frankly. And None of that has power if it's not on a foundation of love. So, for us as a society, for us as individual human beings and as a society to resolve, what's essential is for us to lead with love. The love has to be there first. Even if it's with my child, that if I want somehow to have my child understand my logic about something, if I try to do that without the foundation of love, it's not going to be heard. So whether it's with my child, whether it's with an employee, whether it's with a politician, whether it's with a neighbor, I don't care. I think we need to resolve that we're going to lead with love. Last thing I'd say is, the greatest leaders in the world, the ones that have really inspired us, the Mahatma Gandhis, the Dr. Kings, are the ones that refused not to love. Their leadership, the foundation of their leadership was they refused not to love everybody all the time under all circumstances. So I think that's the pathway that would be really beneficial for us to walk down as a society.
Truly, truly is. I find if you walk into a conversation thinking about that way, like thinking love in your heart, that doesn't matter how the conversation goes from there, you've started it off on a good foot. Um,
And again, my assertion is that we don't need to try to be more loving. So I would never say to somebody, you should be more loving. If somebody's heart is closed, if somebody finds themselves trapped in resenting another or judging another, it's not that they need to be more loving, it's they need to free themselves from the judgments, free themselves from the resentments, the opinions. I assert when we're free as human beings, free from what? Free from righteousness, free from judgment, free from opinion, free from resentment. When we're free, we naturally love. So the job isn't to try to become more loving. The job is to keep ourselves free from that which closes our heart in the first place.
Mhm. That's true. And sometimes that can be very hard, right? Because we're just humans, we're working our way through this world. But I love what you're saying because it gives us that opportunity to walk into these situations, to be free of those things and to not be judging and, just coming with an open heart.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, one of the ways to keep ourselves free is to really understand that in most arguments or most times when we have conflict with another person, our position is that we're right about something and they're wrong about something. Well, here's a radical thought. None of us have ever been right and none of us have ever been wrong. We each have views of life. And views are different. If you're in front of my house and I'm behind my house, we have different views. To argue which is the right view makes no sense. So if you are arguing about who's right and who's wrong, then you'll end up being able to have that argument go on for years, quite frankly. But what if nobody's ever right and nobody's ever wrong? We have views. What do you do with views? You don't argue about them. You try to understand each other's views. You get interested in each other's views. So if we could really discover for ourselves, wait a minute. And it's, not, it's a radical statement. I've never been right. Can you imagine saying that? I've never been right about anything, and I've never been wrong about anything. That keeps us free right there.
Mhm. Yeah, we were just having a conversation similar to that today at work. Was we were talking about views and opinions and stuff, and I'm like, I don't under we were both saying, this girl and I, it was like, I don't understand why people are fighting about these things when we all are going to have our own views and our own opinions. But can't we just respect each other enough to just be say, that's your view, that's your opinion. Basically, I'm going to love you anyways. I'm going to come with that open heart to be open to hear what you say, even if it's something that I don't necessarily believe in.
And we get attached to our opinions, don't we? Like we have an opinion, then we think, okay, well, somehow our opinion is the true opinion or the right opinion. No, opinions are opinions, but we are an opinionated society. We even have opinions about opinions. Think about it. If I what we think about opinionated people, right? So we are trapped in a world of opinions. Now, we don't make them up. Most of our opinions, if we examine them, we inherit them from either the generations before us or the culture that we're living in. We don't make our own opinions up. We inherit them. So it's not a useful thing to place importance on our opinions. I have opinions. Everybody has opinions. They come and they go. I relate to them like clouds in the sky. Clouds come and clouds go, but the sky is constant.
Mhm.
So opinions come and go. The worst thing you can do, can you imagine the sky trying to hold on to a cloud? That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? Like hold on to that cloud. Oh, my screen just made
He
it
was
graphic
happy
there.
about that.
Um, right. So the sky doesn't try to hold on to a cloud. That would be ridiculous. It lets the cloud pass, and then the sky is still there. So as human beings, we can have our opinions. They're going to come. We don't even know where they come from. We don't know. We just end up with them. But to let them come and let them go and not place so much importance on them.
Mhm. Exactly. So,
True.
if you were to offer advice to people, like how do we start to lead with love and to be in this space where we're coming into conversations and interactions with people where we're leading with love?
Yeah, I think it's fairly simple. I'm going to say it in a simple way, and then I'm going to say it in a more a deeper way, I guess. But it's simply wishing others well. You know, I wish you peace. I wish you happiness. I wish you success. Now, I'm going to give that another name now. I call that bestowing grace on upon another. To literally bestow grace is simple. It's just wishing people well. And and the guy that cuts us off on the highway, right? You know, we want to say all kinds of nasty things to him, don't we? But
Sometimes.
it's and this isn't, by the way, this isn't a Pollyannish conversation. This isn't like, oh, we should be more loving. It's not a moralistic conversation. It's what has us be happy. We're not happy when we're mean. We're not happy when we resent. We're not happy when we judge. We're happy when we love. Said another way, we're happy when we wish people well. We are. That's what makes us happy.
Mhm.
And it's also what has us be effective with people. So this isn't a moralistic conversation. It's a conversation for our happiness and our effectiveness as individuals and as a society.
True.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's often funny now because for a long time I had a lot of road rage. I'm not gonna, just because you brought up that topic. And so I found myself, right? Somebody would cut me off or go too slow, and I'd be like, oh, whatever I would say, and be angry. But then I'm angry, and my body is feeling this anger inside of it. And it's like, this is kind of silly, really. So now I'm like, okay, well, thank you, because you're probably making me avoid an accident, or, thank you. Maybe I need to slow down. Maybe the road is slippery up ahead. I don't know the cause of it, but I'm trying to take a different perception of it of, you know, maybe you didn't even mean to. Maybe you didn't even see me, right? Like we all have those days. So instead of, because I don't want to create that anger in my body, which then creates disease. So I'm trying to come about it at a different level now.
Yes, anger often follows fear, quite frankly. So if we get somebody cuts us off on the highway, our first experience is the fear. Then we're angry. But even sometimes, like, let's suppose you have somebody that you're really close to, like your husband, your wife, a good friend, and they pull a prank on you and they jump out and scare you. And you'll notice you get afraid and have a flash of anger right before you think it's funny.
Yeah.
So so anger is often follows fear. So if we can have compassion, oh, I just got afraid, and my natural response to fear is anger. Okay, but I'm safe now. I'm actually okay. And so then the fear can pass and the anger can pass. And then once again, not because it's what good people do or we're supposed to do, but because of what then will give us satisfaction is to, again, give our best wishes back to that person.
Yeah.
That's true. I know when I walk around sometimes and I'm out doing whatever, I look at people and the looking on their face and I think to myself, oh boy, I sure wouldn't want to be them. Because they have that look on their face like, oh my God, like the world's falling apart. And I try to smile at them. But at the same time, I often say to myself, I send you a lot of love. I think you need it, and they do.
Yes, beautiful. Beautiful. And and when you say that statement, I send you a lot of love. I think that I think we don't have like a measurement for that. Like, oh, I send them love. So, that we don't have a way to measure that. Although there's an institute called the Heart Math Institute that's beginning to measure that. They can
Okay.
begin to measure that if you have loving thoughts towards someone, it shows up in the other person's heartbeat. It shows up in the other person's breathing. It does
Nice.
have a measurable impact. We're primitive in that science right now about being able to measure that. But let's take the case it does. You just saying, I'm sending that person love. Let's take the case that does make a real difference for them and for you.
True. It makes
Mhm.
you feel better
Even
too
even
when
if
you do it.
it sure does. It sure does. It's much more fun than being judgmental. It's much more fun than being argumentative, isn't it? It's just much more fun.
Mhm.
It sure is.
Well, and I feel like we would all vibe different if we could just be that way, right? If we could just go out into the world and just be wishing each other love all the time, I feel like things would change in our world. We'd have less chaos. We'd have less, you know, not diversity, like dividing, like we'd have less of that, right? And being segregated and all of the other stuff, it'd be a lot less because there'd be no room for that anymore.
Exactly. One of the things that allows for the division is we really do see ourselves as separate. You know, I see myself as separate from that other person over there. Now, it's time we examine even that reality, okay? How did everything get separated? For instance, how did the United States get separate from Canada? How did Monday get separate from Tuesday? It's a good question. How does the wall get separate from the floor? There's one way things get separated. They get given different names. That's it. You take one piece of dirt and you call some of it United States and some of it Canada. Now you have two things, not one thing, separate. You take one block of time, you call some of it Monday, some of it Tuesday. Now you have 2 days versus one, separated. You take one room and call some of it the wall and some of it the floor. Now you have two things separated. Naming is that simple act of naming that separated us. So as we were educated, everything got named. Boy, bike, ball, dog, cat, tree, everything got named. So we started seeing everything as separate. Then they named us. I'm David, you're Kim, you're Barb, and we got separated. But maybe we're not. Maybe it's an illusion. Maybe that's just something we got educated in. Sometimes in deep moments of meditation, people have the experience of oneness. Sometimes just listening to beautiful music, people have the experience of oneness. Sometimes in the presence of a beautiful sunset, people have an experience of oneness. And then it's a beautiful moment and people aspire to it, but then all of a sudden they feel separate again. So they think that what's real is the separateness and the oneness is just a brief, illusory, short-lived experience, but what's real is the separateness. Maybe not. Maybe the separateness is the illusion. Maybe the oneness is our natural state, quite frankly.
Yeah. So
Worth
how do
examining, huh?
well, it totally is worth examining because I mean, I think when we're all in that oneness, we're feeling so exhilarated and just loved in general, right? Being in that presence of that. And so how do we keep that feeling then? Because I agree with you as we see these awe-inspiring things or we do these awe-inspiring things and get that, and then all of a sudden, whew, you're right, it goes back to that separateness. So how do we keep that oneness in our life?
Yeah, well, that's where we want to get a new relationship with love. Most people relate to love as an emotion. I feel love, I have feelings of love, or I don't. Or people relate to love as a thought process. I have loving thoughts, or I don't. Okay, but there's another domain of our existence as human beings beyond our emotions and our thoughts. It's called our way of being. We have ways of being as human beings. We can be generous, we can be stingy. We can be respectful, we can be disrespectful. We can be kind, we can be cruel. Those are ways of being. Now, what's important for us to notice is we don't have any control over our emotions. They come, they go. We don't have any control over our thoughts. They come, they go. But we
Mhm.
have total say about our way of being. So when we relate to love as a way of being and we practice love as a way of being and we find that, oh, I can be loving no matter what emotions I'm having, no matter what thoughts I'm having, then that puts us in the driver's seat of our experience of life. So to relate to love, not as a set of emotions or a set of thoughts, but to relate to love rather as a way of being that we have a say about. I get to choose being loving. I can choose being loving when I'm tired. I could choose being cranky too, or I could choose being loving when I'm tired. I could choose being loving I could choose being loving when I'm angry. I bet everybody listening to this has been tender sometime when they've been angry, probably with a pet or a small child. It's more difficult with adults for some reason. But we've all had the experience of being tender when we were angry. So that's what I think would make a big difference for people is to start relating to love as a way of being and catch, oh, that's the one thing we have a say about in life. We don't have a say about our emotions. We don't have a say about our thoughts, but we do have a say about our way of being at all times under all circumstances. And we get to be loving. We get to choose that no matter what else is going on.
Yeah.
That's our power.
Yeah.
It is.
So is that then how we make our love footprint into the world is by starting there, is by being loving regardless?
Yeah. And I like to have a practice where in the morning I start envisioning my day. Like, one of the things I envisioned today is I was going to do this interview with you. So this morning I looked ahead to my day and said, oh, one of the things I'm doing is this interview. And in the morning, I actually visualize for myself what it would look like to come into this interview loving and being loving and what that would look like and how that might sound. And so I actually ahead of time prepare myself to be loving in all the circumstances of my day. Then at the end of the day, I give myself a little report card. Hey, how'd I do? Right? Sometimes I do good, sometimes I blow it. But the good thing about blowing it, right? Like I blew it a couple months ago. I had an argument with my dry cleaner. Oh my gosh. Over shirts, no less, over how the shirts were done. Like I was arguing with, can you, I like arguing with my dry cleaner. Oh my gosh, what a crazy thing. But I argued with him for like, 10 minutes, right? And I left the store and I was sure I was right and he was wrong. I was just convinced, right? Luckily, I had about a 10-minute drive home. And by the time I got home, I had regained my sanity and realized that I had just completely blown it. And so I got home. As soon as I got home, I called him and said, I'm so sorry. And recovered the relationship, quite frankly. So even if we blow it, the good thing to know is we can turn it back around on a dime.
Yeah,
That's good
that's the
news.
truth. That's the truth. If I've had an argument or something, or been really stiff about something, I have to go back later and try to make it better because it's just that feeling I have in my heart is like so heavy. It's like,
It
okay,
is.
I have to make something neutral here, even if it's just neutral. It takes away all that anguish and pain and guilt, fear, all of it goes away then. Because when you walk away from something in a bad mood, you have all that rushing up inside your body. So I try to go right back to it like you did and just go, hey,
Good.
look,
Yeah.
let's do neutral ground on this then. You know?
You're beautiful. And mostly what's going on in your mind at that time is trying to justify how come you were that way and really convince yourself you were right and they were wrong. So, and it doesn't resolve anything, does it? But you know
No,
what does resolve stuff? Love resolves stuff. Love resolves it. And if we would just start trusting that, how about we trust that like Martin Luther King trusted it? How about we trust that like Nelson Mandela trusted that? How about we trust that like Mother Teresa trusts that? Love really. I, I'm afraid sometimes people hear the word love and they think it's corny or something. It's not corny. It is it is truly the foundation of loving being us. We only love being us when we're loving. We don't love the living of our own life when we're not being loving.
right? It's true. That's very true. I know my mother phoned me today, all fearful. She lives in an old age home, all fearful because of all kinds of things that are going on there. One was I guess they announced over the loudspeaker, make sure you lock your windows and doors and stay inside your suites right now. So she says to me, so what do you think is wrong? There must be something going on that's wrong. I said, Mom, you're in the right place. They're taking good care of you by telling you that. But what should I worry about, Mom? So she was
Mhm.
talking to me, trying to pull her down. Okay, like she wanted me to bring her back up. is what she wanted me to do. She knows that I will. And I just said to her, just accept the fact, Mom, that you're in the right place. They're taking good care of you, and be happy for that, and don't worry about that other stuff, because there's nothing to worry about. If you think about it, you're safe. But, and that's just pulling back up the love, saying,
Right.
put that love back in your heart, Mom. It's okay. You're fine. But it's amazing to watch people go into that mode, particularly when they're more mature in their lives, like she's
Yeah.
93, and they scare easier, right? They really do.
Yes.
And they really need some uplifting and lots of love.
There's a simple exercise people can do that I like to let people see. It's really simple. It's deceptively simple, but extremely powerful. Is if I'm ever concerned about something, or if I'm ever irritated with a person, here's what works. And sometimes even, by the way, if I'm mad at myself, okay, I close the eyes and I hold my hands out in front of me, like somebody's gonna put something precious in my hands, like an egg or something, right? So I hold my hands out, and then I close my eyes and I visualize that I'm holding in my hands whatever I'm irritated about. So let's suppose back that day I would have been my dry cleaner, right? I would have actually closed my eyes and envisioned holding my dry cleaner in my hands. And then here's what works. It's a simple thing, but it works, is bring them to the heart and place whatever you're irritated by in the heart. And the irritation really does dissolve. It really does. It just dissolves in the area of the heart. So, I invite people to practice that. Just if you're really upset with somebody, or irritated with somebody, or find yourself resenting somebody, close your eyes, hold out your hands, imagine holding them in your hands, and then bring them to your heart and see what happens. And my experience is that immediately the resentment starts to dissolve. And what's there is at the very least, is a compassion for the person, again, a grace for the person, like a wishing them well.
Yeah.
So I
Do you
invite
think
people to practice that.
that, I think that's a great
I'll
practice.
try that on her. I'll ask her to do that.
Yeah, great. My mom's 99. She does it. So
That's so nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll try that with her, because you want to see them be the best they can be when they're that age. You want the best for them, right?
yeah,
And so you try to make them happy when, no matter what, because I live so far away from it, I can't just run over there, so I have to try to do it airwaves.
yeah.
Do you think that there's some either scientific or something behind the action of putting our hands to our hearts just to even breathe or some? Because I find sometimes if I'm agitated or fearful or just stressed out, to be honest, if I just like put my hands to my heart and just take some centering deep breaths, it seems to calm it down even more than just breathing itself. So
That's
I just wonder if there's some kind of theory behind that of why that is.
Well, I think as human beings, we're used to relating things as matter, as material. Like, I'm sitting in this chair and it's like fabric and wood, and we're in the wall. I'm used to relating to things as matter. And we're not that skillful at relating to things as energy. Mostly because energy is often invisible to us, invisible to the eye anyway.
right.
But I think it's the energy. So if you ask about the science behind it, yeah, it's working with energy. So that there's an energy of fear or anger. And when I bring that energy and put it in the energy of the heart, the love energy dissolves and transforms any other energy. So the love energy wins, so to speak. So the answer to your question is yes, relating to it as energy versus matter.
Right.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
think too, sometimes we walk into a room, and before we walk into the room, if we put that energy around us of love around us, then when we walk into the room, we walk into it with a whole different perspective if we don't have that as we're walking in, because you feel
Mhm.
the energies of other people anyways. It doesn't matter where you are, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, and I think one of the things about that too is when I go someplace, one time early in my marriage, we were invited to my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law was dating somebody new. So for an Easter Sunday, we were invited to his new girlfriend's family's house for Easter dinner. And I had been working a lot. It was my one weekend off. We didn't know these people. We'd never met them. And I was like, I do not want to go at all, right? So, and I knew I was in trouble because I got half dressed, then I laid back down on the bed. So I knew I was in trouble. Right? So, but speaking to what you're saying is then I switched it because I go, wait, I said to myself, okay, wait. I'm not going to worry about me having a good time. I'm going to worry. These people invited me to their home. I'm going to make sure this is the best Easter they ever had. Let me go have their day be wonderful. And it just altered everything immediately. And I went, I like had my attention on them having a wonderful Easter, and I loved the day. Go figure, right? But to get our attention over there, like when we have our attention on other people loving their day, oh, look what happens to us. We get power and we get happy.
Yeah.
that's
Well,
true.
we come out of our ego too, right? So it's not about
Exactly.
that anymore. So it's about something totally different, and we're in there in a different way of being. We're in
Yeah.
love being.
A big lesson for the world to get is we really do still think love comes from the other people. We still, if you interview people about a relationship, they'll think, they're going to get married. Why are they getting married? To get love from the other person. It's a mistake. It's a myth. It doesn't work. You never get love from the other person. If somebody loves me, and while they're loving me, I'm being cranky, I don't experience love at all. I experience crankiness. Somebody could be adoring me. And if while they're adoring me, I'm judging them, I don't experience being adored. I experience being judgmental. So we never get love from the other person. The only time we experience love ever is when we're being loving, period. When we're generating it, when we're giving it out. That's the only time we experience it. So I perform wedding ceremonies sometimes, right? And I get this point in the vows. I make sure this is established in the marriage ceremony. Like the point of a marriage is not to get love from the other person. When you get married, oh, somebody says they'll be with you their whole life. That gives you the opportunity to be loving because you can't be loving if there's nobody there to love. So the whole point of a marriage is you have the opportunity to be loving, to be empowering for another human being for their whole life. Now that's a gift. So, but the lesson for society to learn is we never get love from the other person. We only experience it when we're being loving.
That
That's
makes
true.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. And I love that you put that in the vows because I think that's an important thing for people to look. Because I think the more that we have these conversations, the more that it makes people aware of this. And then it makes people act and do
Yeah.
differently.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, and it's really it's a lot of people, I think, in at least especially in the United States, but not limited to the United States, around the world, a lot of people are upset with current politics, with current, divisions between groups of people. There's a lot of people really upset about it. So it's if we could that's why I started the Love Matters collaboration, quite frankly, because I want to be a grassroots movement. So with the Love Matters collaboration, it's a nonprofit, and I set it up so that people could join it. And and when you join the collaboration, you don't pay a fee or anything. There's never a fee. What you do is you sign a pledge to ever expand your love footprint. So the pledge goes like this. I pledge to ever expand my love footprint wherever I go, whoever I'm with, whatever I'm doing. Bingo, you're a member of the Love Matters collaboration. So I'm committed that this year, 2026, I'm committed that we end up with at least 1 million members worldwide, and that we have, this is my real commitment, we have members from every country in the world. Now I think that would make a difference if somebody from every country in the world signed a pledge to expand their love footprint, and it was really a worldwide movement. Okay, I think we could have love prevail on the planet.
Hmm. Well, you can
So,
see the
any
unity in
listeners,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
do.
any of your listeners, if they go to the Love Matters collaboration and sign that pledge, that would be great. Here's where they go is yourlovedoesmatter.com. If they go to yourlovedoesmatter.com, they can sign that pledge and become a member.
That's wonderful. I'm just writing that down so I can put that in the
Me
show
too.
notes.
Great.
So, what are your plans for 2026 besides this love collaboration? Do you have anything that you're doing that you want to share with everybody?
I got a few things. One is so there's the Love Matters collaboration and getting members from all over the world. Then I've got another project called Love Goes to the Capital. So I sent my book, Your Love Does Matter. I sent a copy of my book to every member of Congress and to the president and the vice president and several governors around the country. And, I'm addressing a few other people as well. I just sent a copy of my book to the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis. You know, so the point is, I've got a project called Love Goes to the Capitol. I'm committed that we could infuse the political system with love, and our political leaders could lead with love. So I'm sending the book and following up with phone calls and communication. But then I'm going to do another project in Pennsylvania where I live. We're going to start there, but I hope people from every state pick it up and run with it. I'll let people know. Yeah, I'll do enough social media on it so people can hear about it. But we're going to go to the state capitol in Harrisburg, and we're going to go once a week for a whole year. And each week we're going to do an act of love, no politics, just an act of love. So the first week we're going to take a group of, I do a lot of work with formerly incarcerated people. So I'm going to take a group of men right out of prison and take them up to the Capitol and have them deliver an orchid to every single legislator. Then the next week, I'm going to take a group of moms on food assistance programs and take them up and have them deliver a letter of acknowledgement to every legislator. Then the next week, I'm going to take a group of trans teenagers up and have them just open the doors for legislators. No political talk whatsoever, just acts of love. And I assert if we do that every week for a year, it'll alter the environment. So so I got Love Goes to Capital. That's another project for 2026. And then
Wow.
I've got a course I've created that I'm really pleased with. I led transformational programs for 30 years, and I've done quite a bit of spiritual work myself. So I wanted to bring those two worlds together, the world of transformation and the world of spiritual awakening. And I was committed there's a place where those two worlds cross paths, that there's a great conversation to have. So I created a course that takes place right there at that crossroads. It's called The Awakening. And I'm offering that 10 times this year around the United States and Canada and Calgary, Canada, once on a cruise ship and once in Cabos, Mexico at a great resort in Cabo. So I'm going to offer that course 10 times this year. So we got a lot going to get, again, never to get people to be more loving, to free people from what
Yeah.
closes their heart in the first place.
Wonderful. And they can
Yeah.
find all of that information on dates and times and stuff on yourlovedoesmatter.com.
Yes, all of it. Yep.
Perfect. And where else can people find you besides on your website?
They can get the book Your Love Does Matter at Amazon. Okay, so that's for sure. And then if they want to just Google my name and uh, they can probably find quite a bit of stuff. I've been doing quite a bit of television interviews because I've been committed to get the word out, especially about this love footprint message. So I just this morning, as a matter of fact, I was interviewed in Washington, D.C. on ABC in Washington, D.C., and I'm watching the country starting in the United States, but I'm watching the country, and I've now been interviewed in the Seattle area, in the San Diego area, in the Minneapolis area, in the Tennessee area, in the Austin, Texas area. So I'm watching the map until I can get the whole country covered, and we've got the word out to the whole country. So,
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I love that you're leaving your love footprint all over the place. I think that's wonderful and amazing. And
Sure is.
Mom and I are so glad that you came back to share even more with us because I think this is important information to get out to the world. And so, if you had a final thought to leave with us and our followers, what would it be?
a final thought. I think my final thought would be to to really trust ourselves. And and it's become normal for us to judge each other. It's become normal for us to resent each other. It's become normal for us to condemn others, right? But there's a big difference between normal, what's become normal, and what's natural for us. So let's not mistake just because something's become normal and we've gotten used to it, that that's who we really are. So to be able to like, oh, I've gotten used to that. That doesn't mean that's who I really am. And to really stand for that, who we really are as human beings are loving beings.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's amazing. Well, Mom and I both are looking forward to seeing your love goes to the Capitol and you making, the news all over the place that you're spreading this because I think this is such a great mission that you're doing. So we really
We have one more
appreciate
minute
being
of
on.
time.
Yes,
Do we have one more minute?
absolutely.
Uh,
Yes.
I also leave people with, I wrote a prayer. It's called the Prayer of Grace that it's in the book, and I wrote it, but I really give it to people. It's like anybody can have it be their prayer. And it goes like this. It's very simple, but it goes, may I use these arms to hold the whole world who's suffering. May I
Uh,
use these hands to heal. May I use these ears to listen for the truth. May I use these eyes to see the divine within all people. May I use this heart to love without conditions. May I use this voice to create possibility, awareness, remembrance, devotion, creation itself. May I use these feet to walk in the world and bestow grace on all. May I use this whole being to anchor a dimension of love on the planet. I call that a
wow.
prayer of grace. So I offer that to people. Let them, it's in the book, and they can, anybody that wants that to become their prayer. I have it on the dashboard of my car. It helps me during traffic, I'll tell you.
I'm not
But
gonna
anybody that wants
lie.
to,
I copied that out of your book to put into my journal to read. So thank you.
good,
I'm going to do that too.
awesome. All right, good. Get it on the dashboard. It helps.
We'll definitely have to do that. Well, thank you for sharing that with everybody and with us because I think that, like we said, Mom and I both think this is such an important message to get out to the world. And, we would like to say to people, please, go out there and try to make these love footprints just be
Make a
phenomenal so we
difference.
can spread it. So thank you so much for
Well,
being with us today.
what a difference you're making by having this podcast. Just really, thank you so much for, being a voice for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love
And
it.
All right,
it was,
wonderful to be with you.
yes, you as well. And all the best. And we look forward to it. And we'll check back with you. And hopefully we can have you back on another time to see
Yes.
what you're up
Yes.
to and how all of these collaborations and different things that you're doing are panning out for you. So
Yeah.
Many
We need to know.
blessings.
Thank you. We need to
thank
know
you.
that. Thank you.
Bye bye. Good night.
Good
Good
for
night.
now.
And everybody else, we'll see you on the next one.
You bet.